Well, hey folks, it's your old pal King Waspinator. Welcome back to Total Party Skills, and like and subscribe. It's a bit late in the night, just kind of doing some little off the cuff while I'm thinking about it. I got, maybe one, maybe two videos left for lore videos about South America, and I was kind of starting to do a little preliminary thinking as to what, region of Earth I want to move on to next. So I was thinking of, maybe exploring Rifts Africa in a bit more detail. Except, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of detail to actually be found in this book. It's almost like a prototype of a 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, source book, in that there's 30 some odd pages or so of world information, and the whole rest of this thing is all a big epic adventure write-up. It's dominated by, the stats and abilities and history for all the horsemen of the apocalypse, and a big long thing about the New Phoenix Empire, which controls Egypt. Is ruled by an evil Changku dragon named Pharaoh Ramesset, and is just like a kingdom of demons. And there's one Splugorth colony mentioned called Gorth in the Ivory Coast. All of one human city to be found in all the continent in sub-Saharan Africa at Kampala in Uganda. And other than that, much kind of akin to a couple of other groups of peoples in the other parts of the Rift's Earth. Sub-Saharan Africans have kind of been reset to pre-contact days, not just like pre-contact with white people, but like pre-contact with Arabs too. I kind of have little mixed feelings about that. I mean, North and South American natives have chunks of their continents back and are able to return back to their traditional ways of life. That was the plan with Australia, even though those books never got finished. So, on some degree, it's that's just kind of been the pattern for Rifts Earth. Hell, arguably, England is an example of a European region that's kind of resetted back to its nativist, traditionalist kind of populace and way of doing things. But not a single motherfucker in the whole continent decided to keep any guns or bionics or anything. It's all rain dancers and witch doctors and stuff. I can kind of see a little bit why this book back in the day got some complaints. For the most part, I've always been on the whole side of the controversy about Rifts Africa, that they actually made it. How rare books from various role-playing games actually directly address anything that's going on this continent. I just feel that for such a vast terrain, even it itself brings up how how much people kind of underestimate how big Africa is south of the Sahara still, and yet they don't really have much there to do or see. It's written very much like some old 80s travel log you'd find in a pamphlet or a magazine, at a tour guide office or something. It's very all just statistically laid out of here's the mineral resources of Angola, and here's how many people are alive in Kenya, but no real meat in terms of stuff that's unique to the Rift's world. No other continent was really kind of was treated that way. So it feels unfinished. In Rift's Aftermath, it mentions in its Africa summary that, there's going to be a Rifts Africa 2 coming soon. And it's been well past soon there, and so I'm thinking that it's not coming along. So I don't really know, how much of a involved of a lore video you can get out of here. The main band of habitation kind of stretches along the bottom of the Sahara from, basically the Ivory Coast in the west across the continent to southern Ethiopia and the Horn. Like I said, Splugorth have a presence on the west coast and the Gulf of Guinea. The Congo has retaken most of the central continent. The Pygmy tribesmen were amongst the first people to pick up how to survive in the aftermath of the cataclysm. So kind of oddly, they're one of the larger human populations on the western side of Africa. There's still some scattered Bantu and Nilotic tribes, but it doesn't seem like the Bantu are like the dominant race of Africa anymore, as they have been for the last however many thousands of years. Like no mention of the Khoisan in South Africa. Actually, a good chunk of South Africa is described as being sunk. They have a few DBs. Adirak from Atlantis are there. Apparently, there's some lizard men in the Congo, like a Agogwe, some like ape folk. DB that's just known as tree people that kind of look like a cross between like a marmoset and a honey glider. Hytrill from the Palladium Fantasy, they're found in the Congo region. But I don't know. There's the thickest concentration of humanity is on the east coast, south of Ethiopia. It's mostly Kenya, Tanzania, and the northern half of Mozambique. As I said, Kampala, which is in Uganda on Lake Victoria, is like the major human city, and even that is described as being low tech. They use the excuse that the Phoenix Empire will strike down any little town or settlement that starts showing too much technological advancement and enslave everybody. And that's also the thing. Like while reading through this, is just demon forces from the Phoenix Empire enslaving people, and the Splugorth of Atlantis enslaving people. And you look through the information that's provided in the Lemurian book, because it does kind of somewhat paint a picture of that part of the Indian Ocean, at least, that is along Africa's eastern coast. And the eastern population apparently also get caught and used as slaves to be fed on by vampire crab people at the bottom of the sea. And they've like lost all their technology and science, and the entire population everywhere has just gone back to the old ways. I mean, even in amongst the Native American tribes in Rift's Earth in North America, most of them, want to do the traditionalist thing, but even they still keep around a few high-tech energy weapons and flying power armor and all that kind of stuff. Because let's be realistic here, it's Rift's Earth. But the book's a product of the very earliest days. I mean, all they really had around as resources was, the original version of the conversion book. So it explains a good chunk of the Palladium Fantasy kind of monsters that are mentioned throughout various parts of the continent. England had come out right before it, and it does have two Millennium trees of note, one in the middle of the Congo and one that's being kind of held prisoner at Giza by Pharaoh Ramesset. I feel if you focus on the East Coast and kind of use some of the events that are described, the Lemurians helping the Swahili peoples, fight back against the Mailu crab warriors, might be an excuse to galvanize the area and get everyone kind of working together and start to get a more organized civilization up and running, while the New Phoenix Empire is still demoralized from not having the apocalypse, and Pharaoh Ramesset is, more focused on, either trying to help the Gargoyles conquer Germany, or, having to deal with the Minion War, whether or not you're even involving the Minion War. To the pro side of all this, then, is it really a bad thing? That Africa has kind of been reset back to a pristine Africa in many ways, kind of erasing a lot of the scourge of some of the stuff that's been inflicted on the continent over the last couple thousand years. I don't know, as much as that's cool, but I don't know, I feel that's undermined by Splugorth and New Phoenix and vampire crab people so frequently attacking and seizing African populations to drag them off to go. I don't know. It feels like even in Rifts, it's like Africa just can't seem to catch a goddamn break. I don't know. There's some mention in the Aftermath book that of a few other things that that were going to be in Africa 2, which never came out. Which all from what little I could kind of figure out from searching some of the terms. Like Zozan Anatis is probably something to do with South Africa. Kingdom of Death could be anywhere. I mean, that's a very original name for a location. Kingdom of Death. I'm looking forward to that. And Rifts Africa 2, apparently. The Zulu Nation's back. I don't know, like Rifts is supposed to be an excuse to like mix things up. Yeah, you can like in South America, there's parts of South America where like Amazon tribes are still doing the Amazon tribe thing. So there could be parts of Africa where the Maasai or the Zulu or the pygmies in the Congo and Kalahari like might still be living their traditional way of life, but why can't Uganda be a techno state? All that kind of stuff. I feel like the new Phoenix Empire is just going to come in and destroy them. It feels flimsy. Admittedly, though, like this was all kind of written to be vague. This is just supposed to be an adventure setting for a big epic adventure to stop and avert the four horsemen of the apocalypse from coming together. And so, you know, they I guess maybe didn't want to have too many distractions in the setting that characters could get diverted onto. You know, it's just supposed to be just some kind of tabula rasa blank slate with a few minor locations for set dressing, like an oasis in the middle of the Kalahari ruled by a mad rainmaker and stuff like that. Lalibela in Ethiopia is a major gateway to Wormwood from the demon side of Wormwood. You know, what started me to like look into it is there was reference in Rift South America 2 that New Babylon does conduct some trade with Africa, but like who? Are they trading with the New Phoenix Empire? I doubt they're trading with the Splugorth minions at Gorth. Are they sailing all the way around the southern end to get up to Africa's east coast? Which kind of slightly feels like that might make more sense, but also kind of doesn't. I don't know. It's lacking. It's an unfinished product. And there are a few things that do kind of like raise the eyebrow. Like also like what a tremendous mistake it was to have made written pygmies up as if they're like an optional RCC and not just short humans that have the exact same stats and abilities as every other human. You know, arguably, yeah, that was like it's not a good look and all that, and that's even coming from me, you know. So anyway, so I guess there's Rifts Africa, and probably why I'm not going to be doing any extensive lore reviews about it, despite it should having a bigger, more prominent presence in the overall setting. At least it got a book. It's not like Southern Asia and Southeast Asia. And Indonesia, which is another large blank spot on the Rifts map, which I guess old Kevin S. doesn't want to get into the potential, you know, field of landmines of describing that politically heated section of the world, shall we say? I don't know. Subject for another video, perhaps. Leave comments, hit like and subscribe, and be sure to, as always, stay waspinated.